welcome to our December edition of Sports Highlights. Glad you're with us. My name is Greg Bicaveras for our monthly program that airs on Mondays at 7 a.m., 2 p.m., and 7 p.m., weekends at 9 a.m. on Cox Cable 47, 517 all over the peninsula, and of course all over social media and YouTube. Our guests this month are Lucas Brown and Eric Battle Sr. Let's welcome Lucas Brown, the Director of Athletics at Warwick High School. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Very good. How's the job going, your first year?
It's going great. I started July 2nd officially, and it's been a great start to the year. Great fall season. I met a great group of kids, great group of coaches, so it's been a good transition. So.
And of course, it all starts with football, and basically by the time you start, you're heavy into football season.
Yeah, it was a quick jump start there. I got in and pretty much right away, made sure our schedules were all finalized for the fall sports, because along with football, we've got field hockey and boys volleyball and girls volleyball and golf and cross country, and so it's just a matter of getting in, meeting those coaches, and meeting kids and making sure everybody knows where they need to be, when they need to be there, and helping organize all that. So.
How many of those sporting events are you asked to attend? Because it's hard to be in 3 places at once.
Oh yeah, for sure. So typically, our athletic directors in Newport News especially, we are responsible for covering all the home events on campus, and so whether that's a home volleyball or anything throughout the year, but we also attend all the football games, home and away, so varsity football. But yeah. Yeah,
you grew up here, you went to high school in York County, and of course you were also the AD at Kickintan. Tell us about your background.
Yeah, so I grew up here. I've lived on the peninsula my whole life. Grew up in York County, went to York County schools, graduated from York High School. I went to Christopher Newport, and then I went to Old Dominion. Graduated from Old Dominion and got a teaching job at Tab High School. I was teaching PE there for 8 years. I was coaching football in the fall. I was indoor track coach in the winter and outdoor track coach in the spring. So I had a lot of experience with being busy all year round, and then I did that for 8 years, and the Kickintan High School AD job opened up, and I was lucky enough to have a chance to go there. And I was the athletic director at Kickintan High School for the last 9 years. So I've been and when my 8 years at Tab, I was the assistant athletic director there too. So I've been in athletic administration. This is my 18th year now.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And of course, it all circles back because Lee Martin, who went to Denby High School, was the AD at Bethel and Kickintan, and you replaced him.
That's right. Yeah, I was lucky enough to come after Lee at Kickintan, and he did an awesome job there. Everything, it was pretty turnkey when I got there, and it was a great place to start out. Hampton City Schools was great to me. The people at Kickintan were great, and Lee did a great job of kind of setting that foundation there. And making my time there easy. So.
The pressure of football, I mean, it seems like you're always measured by postseason, how many postseason appearances you make, and Warwick has been pretty solid under Corey Hairston. But does that also go with the other sports too, that you expect them to make some type of regional play, or some expectations are not as easy as others?
Yeah, no, I mean, we want all of our teams to compete, not just in the regular season, but also in the postseason. With the new format, since the VHL's moved to the 6 classifications, we do get a lot more opportunities in regional play. So it is definitely something that we want our teams to be able to be a part of and give those kids that playoff chance, or playoff atmosphere. So.
Right. So now we're into winter sports. December, of course, you got talk about all the different winter sports. Obviously, boys and girls basketball is front and center.
Yep, we've got boys and girls basketball, varsity and JV. We've got boys and girls varsity swim. We've got boys and girls varsity indoor track, and then of course we've got varsity wrestling.
Right, and of course weather sometimes can play a factor into, and it's not easy too during the winter because it's so cold outside. But the good thing is most teams practice, indoors, except for track and cross country. They sometimes still go outdoors.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, we run into a little bit of snow, ice stuff every now and then, but we're blessed to live where we live, and we don't have a lot of that, especially the last few winters. There hasn't been too much of that. Bad weather in the wintertime, but it can definitely impact the indoor sports too. So
we're talking to Lucas Brown, the Director of Athletics at Warwick High School, of course, and you've had some really good football coaches where you've been. You mentioned Kickintan Coach Super, and now you got Corey Hairston. Of course, we know about Corey's future.
Yep. When I started at Kickintan, I actually had Alonzo Coley, who is now the head coach at Woodside High School. He was my football coach there my first few years. Great guy, great coach. And then after Coach Coley, we hired Coach Super. And he came in, we literally hired him in February of 20, and then we all know what happened in March of 20. So he kind of saw them through that whole time there, and was there, I think, 3 seasons after that. And so, yeah, 2 great coaches, and Coach Hairston is just another awesome coach along that line there. I've been blessed to walk into a football situation with Coach Hairston and his staff where they are organized, and it's just a great staff. I mean, they all have one goal, one mission, and it's very clear, and the kids know it, and the coaching staff is very focused, and it's a great group, disciplined group, and they're doing a great job.
You mentioned COVID, of course. That spring of 21 is when a lot of the teams played from the 20 season.
Yep.
And there were some limited schedules, 4 or 5 games.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, like I was saying, we hired Coach Super in February, and then everything shut down in March, and so he really didn't get to see. I think they had 1 or 2 weightlifting sessions before COVID hit, and then he didn't really get to even meet those kids until springtime. And then it was, all right, let's gear up and play a season. And
yeah.
So it was definitely an interesting time. So.
Right. Of course, rivalries are meant by attendance too, and you always want to get a good attendance, no matter what sport it is. But and that's even true for the spring sports as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you always want to see, a crowded stadium, a crowded gym, whether it's a soccer field or field hockey field. You always want to see fans out there cheering on the kids. So.
Yeah, you talk about the responsibilities of an athletic director. It wasn't that long ago, Lucas, that it was a part-time position. I'm so glad it's a full-time position because there's just too many sports to keep track of.
Yeah, I really, I wasn't in it. I wasn't in the field, when it was a part-time position. I couldn't really imagine getting back to that just because, and I think a lot of that's changed now, especially with not just the opportunities. We have so many more sports and so many more levels of sports that we offer to the student athletes, but also the 24/7 communication we have now with internet and cell phones and text messaging and emails, and so it really is a round-the-clock job now. So
talk about some of the responsibilities too, because obviously it's academics priority is number 1. Athletics activities. Remember, we've heard that forever. Those three words. But a student must have a decent GPA in order to play a sport. Talk about that. Elaborate what it takes.
Absolutely. So we are governed by the Virginia High School League, and their guidelines are, they've got some educational guidelines, and obviously academics comes first with that's why it's student athletes. Academics comes first. The VHSL requires that you are passing 5 classes currently and that you took 5 the semester before. Newport News, we actually go another level on top of that, and we require a 2.0 GPA the semester before, or a cumulative GPA of over a 2.0, because we really want our young people, our student athletes, to understand that that's the most important part. Athletics is just kind of a bonus on top of being able to be a student athlete. So we definitely drive that academic side for sure.
Whose decision is it for a kid to play multiple sports? Before, back in the day, it was just the parent, and the student. But there's so many layers and so many factors now with academics and transportation. The before and after and the backstory is not always easy.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely encourage kids to play multiple sports, and I like to have my coaches be a part of that. I mean, all of the coaching staff at Warwick's great about encouraging their kids to play other sports, and it just helps to reduce burnout. But with every sport, there's year-round travel teams, and there's club, and then there's always been rec sports too. So they definitely have opportunities to play the same sport all year. But I think that a lot of coaches at the high school level and even at the college level, they want those multi-sport athletes, and that's something that we're definitely trying to encourage at Warwick. So.
And a good example of that is your girls basketball coach, Coach Starks, been there for decades.
Yep. And
she also coaches the tennis program.
Yeah, we've got Coach Starks, who coaches girls basketball and girls tennis. We've got Scott Cullison, who coaches our golf team in the fall and our boys tennis team in the spring. And then we've got Coach Norton, who coaches field hockey in the fall, wrestling in the winter, and boys soccer in the spring. So he's a true 3-sport coach. So we're blessed. I'm blessed at Warwick to have coaches like that not just see the value in coaching multiple sports and touching all those different kids' lives, but also, it helps us because I don't have to find more coaches for those positions. So, and all those coaches do a great job at all those sports. So.
And a lot of them are in the building.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Coach Starks is retired. But Colson's in the building, Norton's in the building. So, I mean, like I said, those 3 account for 7 head coaching positions. So.
Right. We're talking to Lucas Brown, the Director of Athletics at Warwick High School. And, of course, and just like balancing for coaches, the kids have to do the same thing. They have to be balancing their time because practice takes time, games take time. It's an all-inclusive thing with sports and academics.
Absolutely. It's a commitment. And that's something that all of our coaches try to help reinforce and teach the kids about time management. And you know, we offer study halls for the student athletes too. Each sport offers study halls for the kids to try to help keep them on track academically. And you know, there's studies that have shown, you know, time after time that being involved in something at school helps with students' academic achievement, whether it's athletics or band or chorus or an activity or anything. That's the big thing, is just get involved in something with your school. So.
And for you, it's a big job at Sporting Goods. I mean, to get track of all those footballs and basketballs and baseballs, or golf balls for that matter, once you hit one, they're gone.
Yep.
I mean, that's a lot. Softballs too. I mean, that's a lot to keep track of, and uniforms.
Absolutely. So we do, you know, with the coaches' help, obviously they're doing a lot of that, but you know, we have to track all that inventory, and what do we have in inventory? What do we have that's getting phased out? What do we need to order for next year? What do we need to order for 2, 3, 4 years down the road? You know, where are we going to be participation numbers? It's a lot of planning ahead while, you know, kind of tracking what you have. It just takes a lot of organization. But again, I've got a great group, and they do an awesome job at it. So.
Do you enjoy the coaching more, or being in administration? Obviously, with administration, you touch everything.
Yeah, I enjoy both. I mean, there's not a day that goes by that I don't miss coaching kids. You know, especially, like I said, I coached 3 seasons, 2 different sports, but 3 seasons. And I do miss that. I enjoy both. I enjoy the athletic administration side. I think of it to make me feel like I'm still coaching. I think of it as coaching the coaches. I don't know if they see it that way, but you know, that's kind of what helps me enjoy it the most too, and I do enjoy it. So.
And you have to hire a lot of coaches and personnel as well, so you're really all-inclusive.
Absolutely, that's a big part of the job too, is finding the right people for the right fit for the right team. So
exactly. All right, Lucas Brown, the athletic director at Warwick High School, finishing up his first year next spring, and we look forward to the winter season and the spring season as well.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to it, too.
Very good. Lucas Brown right there. Stay tuned, folks, for our next guest, Eric Battle Sr., who's a counterpart of Lucas. He's the director of athletics at Woodside High School. Stay tuned for our December show as it rolls.
You're watching NNPS TV. Catch sports highlights on Mondays at 7, 2, and 7, and on Saturdays and Sundays at 9 a.m. Visit us online at nnpstv.com to view all your favorite episodes. NNPS TV, watching education happen.
Music and fine arts provide enriching experiences. They teach students that there can be more than one solution to a problem, more than one right answer, that mistakes are learning experiences, and present an opportunity to be creative and flexible. The arts encourage persistence and dedication. They require sustained concentration, personal reflection involving critical analysis, and self-adjustment to reach desired goals. These are essential 21st century skills. Skills recognized as important to productive career and citizen success. Each student deserves and benefits from an arts-rich education.
I've been rising up and advancing in my classes.
I've been rising up to be the best student athlete I can be.
I'm rising up as a leader in my school.
I'm rising up to prepare for my future career.
We are all rising up and preparing ourselves for success, thanks to our dedicated teachers and staff in Newport News Public Schools.
Rise up!
And welcome back to our second segment of our December Sports Highlights edition right here. We have Eric Battle Sr. We just talked to Lucas Brown, and Eric is the Director of Athletics at Woodside High School. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here. Great.
Very good. My pleasure. Congratulations again. And tell us how the whole process went. Of course, Mr. Macklin's now at Phoebus.
Right. So Mr. Paul Macklin, who did a great job for several years at Woodside, decided to move on, and now at Phoebus doing a great job. And so I was at Huntington Middle School, which is inside Heritage, and I was the AD because it's the first year they did athletic directors with middle schools as a paid position, and so I was able to get that position at Huntington. Did very well. I did some. Our actual football team won the first city championship at Huntington, and so excited to be a part of that process. And then just kind of building some relationships in the community, and then the actual position for Woodside came open and got a call from Lee asking if, would you apply? So I applied. And so actually Warwick and Woodside came open. Obviously Warwick was filled by Lucas, and I interviewed for both, but wound up getting Woodside.
Yeah, it's funny. We all grew up here. Lucas did, yourself, myself, and you grow and you get to see people that you grew up with, and they have different jobs. Doesn't matter what part of Newport you use or Hampton, and it's nice to connect with them.
Yeah, it is. It is nice to connect with them, and knowing that Lucas came from out of Yorktown, and I actually used to be a Boys and Girls Club director at Yorktown, and so out in the Lackey area, and so it's just from, and then me coming from Heritage and Lee, graduating from Denby, and actually the AD at Heritage, she was a part of the Peninsula District 2 as well. So it's been good.
Well, let's talk about it. You played football under Coach Newsom and Coach Quillen at Heritage.
Yes.
And of course, let's talk about that, because that 1 year in the fall of '98, you guys went 9-1 under Newsom and did not make the playoffs.
Correct.
Let's fast forward to now, where you got teams that barely win a game or two. It's diluted all the divisions, and they're making the postseason. That doesn't seem fair on the surface.
Man, honestly, when I heard of the change, and this is before I even was just in the administration world, just heard of the change, and kids, athletes, students, schools going 2-8, making playoffs, and I always go back to the '98 season. And the '98 season, we were gearing up to play Hampton. Hampton hadn't lost a game in 44 games, and we played Hampton the first, and we got to tie the stadium. That game went to 5 overtimes. We wound up winning 14-8. This pushed us to #1 in the state. We had played 4 games. Heritage never had this much success, again, because my first year we were 2-8. Second year we were 4-6, and then that year we wound up going 9-1, and then we wound up playing Phoebus, and then we lost to Phoebus, and so it came down to points. So because we played Lake Taylor, who didn't win a game at that point of the year, then our power points didn't make it to the point where we can go to the playoffs. So Phoebus and Hampton went, and we had to stay home. So 3 teams that year were 9-1, and we the one that didn't go to the playoffs.
And the thing is, Heritage won it all in 2000 in their 5th year of existence.
Yes.
And you're talking about '98 was only their 3rd year of existence.
Only 3rd year in existence, and some of those players that were part of the team got the experience that didn't get a chance, and some of them were sophomores at the time. And so that next year in '99, we went 10-2, lost in the regional championship game to Hampton. But then the next year, they just went 14-0 and just went through the Peninsula District and brought home that state championship. It speaks wonders, and that was John Quillen. He was the head coach at the time.
Right, you graduated in 2000.
I graduated in 2000.
So you missed out on that.
I did, but felt like I was a part of it because we helped those guys that were under us just because we understood where they were going, because they performed well. Because a lot of juniors and sophomores that played with us that my senior year, they were integral part of the team, and then we knew something special was going to happen that next year, and they brought home the ring.
Right, because it was not easy, and all the Newport News schools in football are measured on that 2000 state championship team.
Yes, and
that Heritage.
And so it was a standard, and that back then it was AAA. And so it's a standard, you walk in and you see the posters hanging up. They got jackets. It's the first time we ever seen the state championship ring at Heritage. And then the sign is out there in the street to see that, they won it that year. And for a long time after that year, nothing happened until Massenburg came. And then when Massenburg came, they start going back to the playoffs.
Right. And Coach Quillen had 2 stints here. We're talking to Eric Battle Sr., the Director of Athletics at Woodside High School, and of course you're being transparent. Back when you were playing, the stadiums were packed. They were crowded.
They were.
Does that hurt you now to see them not as packed?
I'm not going to say it hurts, but I wish there was more support. And I think it's right now a lot of the teams that win. I think Warwick gets great crowds. Because of the consistency, and Warwick has been winning the last couple of years, and I think the times when Heritage was winning, the crowds was big, and so for Woodside, we were Woodside has never been a school that we were always in the middle of the pack. Woodside gone 7-3 for a long time, and so not seeing the support we wish we would. But I know those that come, Woodside has a good support system, but we did wish that we can get some more people in the stands.
And Danny Dotson was there for 24 years.
He was there for a while.
You had Bob Schmidt, and then of course Breck was there for 1 year, and of course now you got an excellent coach.
Yes.
So you try to get that consistency back.
Yes. Yep.
And you worked with Alonzo before as well. I mean, you've crossed paths with him before.
Right. And so I was at Kickertan under Lucas. I was a JV basketball coach, and Willie Goss was the actual head coach, and I brought me in. I did it for 3 years, and so that's where I met Lucas there. And then, at the time, I believe Coley was the head coach of football, and so we crossed paths. I'm so glad he's at Woodside now. And so last year, Woodside's football team didn't do too well. I think they won 2 games, maybe 1 game last year, and then this year going 5-5, which is a great total turnaround. 20 seniors on the team, so we were able to celebrate that, and so now we get a chance to be the 8th seed in the playoffs, and so we're excited to play.
And some of those seniors played for 3 different head coaches.
They sure did, and so that's hard to play.
Yeah.
And be consistent in 3 different systems, right? And so, but they kept pulled it together and was able to go 5-5 this year.
Talking to Eric Battle, you lose and learn at the same time. When you win, you lose in life.
Right.
But did you get some of those organizational skills that when you were a student at Heritage to help you in your job today?
So yes, because of the coaching that we had. And so Coach Robinson, who's the head basketball coach at Lansdowne, he was one of our coaches, but he was also he was my AVID teacher too, homeroom. And so I learned a lot from him. And AVID, it was a class that we took, and a lot of people had to be chosen to be a part of that. And I don't even know AVID is still around in the school system. And so you had to keep a binder. And the binder had to be organized. And it was actually binder checks, and that's really where my structure started. But then when I was able to land a job with the Boys and Girls Club of Virginia Peninsula, I was actually a director for several clubs over the peninsula for 10 years. And so Aqueduct and Lincoln Park to my last one out Yorktown, and also Marshall Courts and Lassiter Courts, but understanding organizational then, and also being able to start my own track team there and coach basketball teams there, and being able to talk with parents and bring and help volunteers and hire staff, and that's how I was able to get those skills. And
it shows you how big this area is.
Yes.
Woodside closer to York High School
yes, it is.
than any other Newport News school.
Right.
And Heritage is closer to Hampton High School.
Yes, and so with Woodside, the actual line to you can leave Woodside, go up the street, turn right, and you'll be right there at Yorktown. And then same thing with Heritage, and Hampton's right there. And so, but we're almost just like a big family. And
sure.
So, we were able to get matches with Yorktown and scrimmages and things of that nature with Yorktown. So it's just all in the same area. Yes.
How will it be different next fall without Gloucester? Because Gloucester's been a part of the Peninsula District for a long time. They were in the York River District back in the day, but Gloucester's been a nice a teammate member of the Peninsula District.
Yeah, Gloucester's been in the district for a while, and so it will feel strange because we have just 9 instead of 10. And so we're working on getting our football schedule together for next year. And so it'll be strange to see them go, but then also too, I know Gloucester did what they had to do for them, and so we're excited to move forward and see what the next steps will be with
great rivalries, Heritage and Woodside. You were part of that playing football, but let's talk about Stephon Welsh. He played football and basketball both for Woodside. He's won nothing but state championships.
Yeah, he won state championships as a player, and he won state championships as a coach. And the basketball program is just an amazing. He's brought some energy, he's brought some enthusiasm, and so we get ready to go into basketball season.
Right.
So when football season may not have been our best season, but we're actually looking forward to we're looking forward to three-peating this year, and so we're excited about it.
How about your other winter sports? What do you expect?
So we're wrestling. So we had a state champion last year, a female, and Anderson, and so we're expecting to continue to compete. And so also our indoor track, we have some young people, got some regional talent. Hopefully we can get some of our relays to go to state. David Gary does a great job, and his staff with indoor, and then also swim, Coach Smith and his team. So we're excited to see what it goes for each program.
And it's more of a challenge for Woodside because those kids are taking serious road trips. I
yes.
mean, even going from Woodside to Phoebus is a lot on 64 the
yes.
way traffic is. So
yes.
there's no close by game except for Denby
right.
and possibly York when y'all play York or something
right.
in a scrimmage
right.
or Gloucester.
Right. But that's part about athletics that I like. bus travels, you know, having true away games, being able to do that. And so, and as an AD, being able to schedule a bus on time enough so we can get there on time, so those kids can get there and experience and get on time to play those games. And you know, we've been doing it for years, and so you know they're excited to get going.
And just like Lucas, you know how to get some new coaches. How about you? When you got the job, did you have to do a lot of new coaches for all the different sports?
So I didn't have to do a lot of new coaches because a lot of coaches were in place. You know, Coley was in place right before I got there, but I was able to rehire a coach for field hockey, and we're actually looking for a tennis coach now. So those are some of the things and field hockey did pretty well. We just lost in the regionals yesterday actually, and so and you know, Miss Reagan did a great job putting our girls together. But you know, moving forward, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, of course, it takes coaches, it takes the administration.
Yes.
You need all that support to
Correct.
do your job, and you've got to be really organized too with GPAs and everything else, correct?
So that's big. GPAs is big, especially at Woodside. Woodside is such a, I'm not saying all schools aren't, but Woodside is known for academics because it's a magnet school. So all of our young people, you can either be zoned or you can be bused from all around because of the magnet. And so academics is above reproach. And so in Newport News, you got to have a 2.0 to play, at least 2.0 cumulative, or on that semester before. So we're always trying to keep our kids eligible to make sure they'll play. And if they're not eligible, we try to work to make sure they get there. And study hall is something that we do. We're checking grades constantly and making sure our kids are above reproach.
Because when you were in high school, Hampton and Bethel always had their best players in varsity playing in the 9th and 10th grade.
Yes.
So it kind of superseded the JV program.
Yes.
They were winning state championships, you know, back in the day with Ronald Curry and so forth. But it's always a challenge, and I'm sure you're up to it. And all the best to you and your Woodside family the rest of the year.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Greg.
My pleasure. Thank you. Eric Battle Sr., the Director of Athletics at Woodside High School. And of course, prior to that, we had Lucas Brown, who's the Director of Athletics at Warwick High School. Both guys had Hampton roots. They both knew each other. And of course, they've been on the peninsula most of their entire life. So I want to thank our entire crew, led by Mr. Price, and of course, Lucas Brown and Eric Battle. I'm Greg Bicaveras. Happy holidays. Thanks for watching our December show, and we'll talk to you soon.